Howdy. So what I've done is I've taken my 3 itty-bitty loop coils and put them sequentially in a ring. The collectors, so to speak, the cores are not hooked together. What I wanted to do was, by putting these 3 vertically before, I hit a certain frequency and snap. I'd shut down a FET. My scope over there would go nuts. And so I thought, well, that's because I had this heterodyned effect in a vertical cylinder. So what I wanted to do was spread it out into the 3 separate phases based upon the 3 separate frequencies and the megahertz that these guys go. It's like a 7, 9, and 12, okay, approximation. And I wanted to see how closely I could get these things to see about the heterodyned. And so what I've come across is a signature on the scope that shows this pattern. Now, with this pattern there, I see 3 sections that are on, and with a gap. Well, what I want to do now is I want to take these 3 rings. Oops, let me get back out there. These 3 rings, which are 3 feet 8 inches, 3 feet 2 inches, 2 feet 8 inches, and I'm going to rewind one of these, and I'm either going to shrink it down or make it bigger. I'm probably not sure. I'm thinking, like, for ease of use, take it down to 2 feet and see what that will produce as far as changing the signature on the scope. What makes me curious, hang on, I'm going to set the camera down, I'll be right back. Is I have this coil, and you can see that on the top ring there are gaps. It's a certain length, and there's on these 2 Helmholtz coils there are these spread windings. This is a copy of what Marco had showed me and Jason. So I could fire this up too, no sweat, and get a similar signature as what's on the scope as far as the self-oscillating, but then you can see there's this heterodyned functions appearing in the higher part of the waveforms. So those are my 2 tests at the moment. I have a compass underneath of this, but it's not spinning because the shots on the scope are not smooth. They're not like sequenced, which is what I'm going to aim for next. And it's a relatively easy setup to do by just replacing one of these sections with a shorter winding or wire length to alter the frequency on the scope. And to let you know what I'm doing as far as driving this thing goes is I have 1 FET and I'm driving all 3 at the same time with 4 kilohertz. Reason being is the 4 kilohertz across these coils all oscillates at different frequencies. Another test I can do is to drive each coil separately with 3 separate FETs so that each one has its own feedback. And I'll get the heterodyned in space instead of the heterodyned electrically within the feedback. Just a thought. So the 2 things would be feedback on a single gate, or a feedback heterodyned in space, instead of just one place electrically, 2 places on the gate, 3 separate gates, 3 separate coils, and that would see if that spins the compass. Right now I seriously doubt that would spin the compass because it is there's too much DC in there in the center part of this waveform that's on. It's too much of that. And what I'm seeing is that these spikes on top and bottom wouldn't be enough to manipulate the field of this coil. And this guy is not your typical width. It's an 8-inch coil, about 8 inches. Yeah, roundabout. So it's different from the 4, 6s or 15s that SM had shown us. Anyway, that's all for now.